I'm a bromsexual, and
Minced rat meat. That sounds appetizing.
I'll fuck a nice
You
fart
eating dog.
jelly bean, dude.
Horns are down. Nobody likes the letter A. I mean, it kind of just sucks. 69 bottles of beer on the wall. 69 bottles of beer.
Yeah, we're about to walk out on the field here.
Oh my god, I should pop off on your ass like Diet Coke.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the shit show we consider a sports show because we talk about balls. We're glad you're here on this glorious Wednesday, August 23rd, 2023. We got Cardinals to talk about, and we're on air. Just like that, we are officially back to the back. This is our second show. That means we're on consistent scheduling. It's obviously feels really good to be back. We are lucky to have a full studio today. We got both sides of the Pentagon. All five sides are here of that six-sided table. It's something that we didn't expect at 4:55 when both sides might not have been here, but I'm very glad that we've got everyone here to cover some Cardinals stuff. We got a lot of free agency stuff going on, and some big headlines coming with only 15 days to go until the NFL is officially underway. So, with that being said, on one half of the Pentagon, we got Mr. Alex Redden looking dapper in that Nebraska. Well, Nebraska? Is it a new team? I don't know. Nebraska T and Cole Cremines on the other side. How we doing, boys?
Hello, friends.
Oh, just peachy.
Awesome. And then Alex is back there running the hut with his plug. Go ahead, Alex.
My mac and cheese. I love this. It's so good.
What did you what's your plan for the meals for this school year?
Oh!
Yeah, he's got a special plan for meals this summer.
Oh, let me tell you what.
Or not summer, school year, sorry.
I'm a cheap guy, and I'm going to only eat ramen noodles and 60-cent boxes of off-brand mac and cheese.
And
Hold up.
And eggs.
Hold up. You lift, right? Where are we getting the protein from?
Eggs.
All right.
Maybe like some off-brand Costco hot dogs.
You're going to have to eat like 15 eggs to get your protein
That's a high.
intake.
Yeah, what do we like 200 pounds? So that's 200 grams of protein from eggs.
Make it 20. 20 eggs.
Oh my god,
Dude. Well, I ate
that
like
wouldn't even be enough.
Dude, I ate 12 eggs yesterday.
That's like less than half of what you need.
I know, but
That-
I'm
Your
working about it.
cholesterol,
12 eggs?
cholesterol's gonna be through the roof.
How do you eat 12 eggs?
Dedication. And
Like scrambled or?
Yeah,
what
how are
we
we cooking
doing
them?
here?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ferociously.
Dude.
I feel like tell them about the ramen thing you did. That was cool.
oh, yeah, I don't eat my ramen normally because I'm not some basic dude.
Yeah.
I made it normally, and then I seasoned the broth and I dropped 2 eggs into it.
Like poach style.
Yeah,
almost.
I just
let
went
the boiling
really-
water cook
I went-
'em.
I've seen people do it with like scrambled. I've seen people do it with scrambled eggs before, like mix scrambled eggs in there with
No.
the
Yeah.
ramen.
No,
I've
I have
never
seen that though.
poached
That's,
eggs.
that's a thing.
No,
What
it
about
was so
that-
good.
What about that ramen casserole we used to make? That was fire.
The
You
tuna
mean
one?
back in high school?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
he was
Oh,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
No,
The tuna's too expensive.
Okay, so back in high school, but when we were really cheap, we had like no money at all, and we were getting into lifting, right? We need to have
That was
protein.
like yesterday.
Yeah, well, it's today as well, but now we've got all of this going on, so we've got some equity, right? But but what we would do basically was we cook up some ramen, and then you take like 1 or 2 cans of tuna, whatever you feel, how tuna-y you're feeling that day, dump those into the bowl, and then it's hot sauce, relish, mustard,
Mayo.
Mayo was a big one. Mixing all this in here, and it's just a nice big gloop of
That's a great
just
word to describe
calories
food.
and protein.
It was
I mean,
delicious.
that's how it tasted, though. Like it was just, like it was.
Oh, don't ever do that
was-
again.
That's how it was. So it was. I mean, it got the job done. We were obviously able to somewhat recover from our workouts, which were honestly more intense, I think, almost than they were now. Like we were used to high school workouts, high school wrestling, and all that. But yeah, they are. That's a classic. Speaking of intensity, the Heat right now, there's like a 65% chance. I'm gonna be real with you guys. We got a text from the city of Ames that said, "Hey, this is like the most energy that's ever been used by Ames ever. So turn off all your stuff." And that's exactly when we turned on all our lights, all our cameras, PC equipment. So there's a good chance that we don't make it out of here with a full show. We might just lose power entirely. But
That'd be funny.
But with that heat though, like, what would you say it was 117? Feels like 117 out there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I was messing with the Zoom, guys. There you go.
Mm.
Someone posted on their story, and it was like humidity is 56 or something, but it feels like 118 degrees
Oh
out.
my God.
That is
In
not
Iowa.
Okay. Yeah.
In Iowa.
I've been seeing memes online where it's like solar system, and it's like the sun, and then Iowa, and then,
Like right
and then
next to
and
it.
then the planets. Yeah, or like Iowa underneath the nuclear explosion of Hiroshima.
Dang.
We're feeling it.
Yeah, it's definitely hot. We're gonna have to ask Bo about what it's like out in Arizona, because Arizona usually runs pretty hot as well. So I don't know what the exact temperatures are out there.
No humidity though.
Yeah, it's dry heat.
Huge.
So do you
huge
think
factor.
is it Iowa, Arizona? Like what are we doing here? So that is interesting. But before Bo comes on in the next 7 minutes or so, we can jump into really quickly. Chiefs, cool. Got your little nightmare shirt on there. It's a classic. Where'd you find that?
The Nigerian Nightmare, Christian Okoye, baby.
Interesting. Looks good. Looks good.
I found this in my dad's closet.
Okay, wow. I was gonna say Goodwill, but dang, that's even better. Passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah, even cheaper than Goodwill.
What position did he play?
Oh, he was a fullback, halfback hybrid.
That's a
Fullback,
nightmare.
halfback.
That's a nightmare for defenses.
Really paved the trail for guys like Marshawn Lynch. He's coming to take your head off.
Oh yeah. Well, and speaking of nightmare for defenses, there's a nightmare on defense for the Chiefs that is in the middle of news right now. Okay. We've got Mr. Chris Jones. I didn't want to get it wrong. I keep wanting to call him Chandler Jones, but Chris Jones is holding out right now. Very, very expensive decision, and you know what? He can afford it.
Brother of Chandler Jones and John Jones, I'm pretty sure.
Is it really?
I think so.
I should have done a little more research on that. I did not know that statistic, but he is holding out. Obviously, willing to do so. He said he's willing to hold out until week 8, which is that's 8 game checks. You got your penalties on top of that for holding out that he's willing to pay and miss out on. But when asked about it today, Andy Reid said that there's been no communication there, and it makes me wonder. Did they kick him out? Why is he doing a holdout, not a hold in? Obviously, Jonathan Taylor's doing a bit more of a hold in situation. What are we thinking for will the Chiefs kind of incorporate those fines into his contract? Do you think? Because he's sitting at about $20 million a year right now. Obviously, top paid is Aaron Donald at 31.6, and then it drops off. Right, you got your 24 for Quinnen Williams, 23.5, and down to 8 where Jones is. So. Are we thinking that's going to be structured into the contract? Because you would imagine if he's choosing to hold out and not hold in, that he was basically told to leave. And if they tell you to leave, you would think, hey, then there's probably going to be some back end here. How are we feeling about the Chris Jones situation as a whole, considering Tyreek Hill kind of happened, Tyrann Mathieu? This happened with the Chiefs before. Is he going to be playing for the Chiefs this year and or next year?
I sure hope so. I am quite frankly terrified if we don't have Chris Jones in the lineup. He is such a disruption up front. But on the flip side of the coin, similarly to the Tyreek Hill situation, I think we're gonna have some young guys step up that might be a little underrated, Nick Bolton, Willie Gay, Trent McDuffie, Felix Anudike. So hopefully, if Chris doesn't come back, which obviously that would be nice if he does, some of those younger guys can try to fill the void a little bit.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% with you. There's definitely depth on the Chiefs roster. Obviously, you need that for a Super Bowl caliber team, and obviously they won it last year, right? They're pretty good at football. But he's just a wrecker, right?
Yep.
If he doesn't play, do they get the Super Bowl last year? Probably not. Let's be real.
I don't think so.
He's obviously a force. So
I would go as far to say that I think he had more of an impact on the Chiefs' defense than Tyreek Hill did on our offense.
really,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
When you have a guy like that up front in the middle, that's irreplaceable. A guy like Aaron Donald. I'm not saying he's Aaron Donald caliber, but he definitely makes his presence known. Even when
yeah.
he's not getting tackles and sacks, if you're back there in the backfield, putting pressure on the quarterback and hitting him, after he gets the ball out, that still plays a huge role over the course of a game on defense.
100%. And the fact that they have to game plan for that they have to, the other team, right? There's just so many factors that go into somebody like that being on your defense that they have to work around, and plays that they aren't allowed to run to, his side so many times. All of that kind of stuff is going to play a role. So I'll be excited to see. My guess, he's not playing for the Chiefs. honestly, looking at the Chiefs' history. So I would be curious to see where he could land. Like, what kind of teams are looking for a force at DN? I feel like that's honestly one of the strong suits across the league. Obviously, like the line on the offensive side of the ball is one that we see a lot of teams kind of struggle with. But on the defensive side, they look pretty strong across the board. And the cap space, right? Like, who's going to be able to pay him that kind of money? So do you have a prediction? I honestly don't know who would even be a good fit.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not super knowledgeable on the financial side of the NFL, but with him saying, I can afford to sit out however long it takes, and Andy Reid saying, there's been no communication, it doesn't look good. No,
it doesn't. And you would imagine he wants to play there, but you never know. So it's something that I'm definitely curious what's going to end up happening. But it's something that I just don't know. It's just like the JT situation, which we'll get into in a little bit. But it's just so many questions with that kind of side of the ball on the Chiefs' whole roster, I would say. You guys' defense is pretty slacking.
I think it's underrated. We got some good young fellas.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Obviously, Patty on the offensive side, you got Travis. But outside of that, honestly, the Chiefs' roster looks kind of lacking. But speaking of a roster that's kind of lacking, we might be taking a trip out here to Arizona. Are we good, Alex? We good over there?
Yep, I just finished it all up.
Good deal. Joining us now from the deserts of Arizona, a writer for the Cardinals and host of the Phoenix, or PHNX, I don't know how you want to pronounce it, Cardinals podcast, Mr. Bo Brack. Bro, how we doing?
Doing great, man. I gotta say, your graphics package, it's elite what you guys got going on behind you.
Well, it's the whiteboard. That's what it is. It's cool doing the whiteboard, the panda depiction there of what he would
I
like
didn't even know
for
they
dinner.
changed the drawing yet.
That's
Yeah.
my supper tonight. I'm going to get some Panda Express.
So
There you go.
I appreciate it, though. I have to say, I'm surprised you're wearing the hat forwards. You're a big snapback guy, it looks like, and you pull it off well. What made you want to go forward with it?
This just like the dad hat, I think, and I think that it's tough to pull off backwards there. So, I'm getting up there in age, and it might be time to just retire the backward snapback. I'll still hold on to it, but for the most part, I think it's going forward for the foreseeable future.
I feel you. Yeah, it's actually kind of a miracle that I didn't wear it. I'm most of the time forward hat. Obviously, Redden's got the forward hat. We're big dad hat fans here, but I have to throw this in really quickly. I cannot guarantee that our power won't get shut off. Ames apparently is getting record high energy uses, and we just turned on all of our equipment, so it's possible. But speaking of that heat, Arizona, we were just talking about it a couple minutes ago. Is the dry heat less of a thing there? Like it's dry heat there, but is it less scary? I don't know what you would call it compared to Iowa, where like humidity is like what's driving our heat numbers up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you try to do when people kind of get thrown off when you say, hey, it's 110, 112, and they're like, my God, like it's like a hellscape out there, and you say, no, it's a dry heat. So as somebody who grew up on the East Coast, the humidity does take it out of you. I mean, it warps you. So, I mean, at least that's what we kind of hang our hat on, is it's a dry heat, and it's not too bad. And you don't have to shovel 110 like the snow you have to deal with in the Midwest to East Coast. So we'll take that. I mean, that's what that's how we kind of justify living here in the desert.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. Obviously, our picture that had the countdown today was of the Arizona landscape, and man, Cole's been out there. It's a hell of a place to go and visit. I myself really want to get out there and see what's going on. But speaking of that heat, the difference, Tampa Bay, pivoting towards football. Sorry, Tampa Bay released a TikTok. If you are fancy in the TikTok realm, talking about the measures they're going through to protect their players. Essentially, they've got like these sticks that are really cold to have the players hold to cool their hands, and it cools their whole body. They got neck coolers. They've got cool towels. They've got cool benches. What's going on in Arizona to keep these or actually, you guys are in Minnesota, but on like a normal day, do they do those kind of measures?
So training camp they hold in the stadium in Glendale, Arizona, and it's so you're fine there. You got the comfort of AC, and they roll the field in, and it's natural grass. And then when they broke camp, they went to their facility in Tempe, where Arizona State resides, and it's So they're doing kind of half and half. They've got an indoor facility and an outdoor facility, and they have like it looks like kind of like a semi trailer, and it's where where players can go kind of cool off. It's like a meat locker almost. And they're just kind of going indoor, outdoor, plus the meat locker. Last week, it was kind of a scary moment. One of the refs, because they always have refs at practice, collapsed, and they threw him right into one of the cold pools immediately.
Okay.
And I guess they got the protocols in place, and it seems like they're all over those things because it's such top of mind. It's so important because you're dealing with such high heats.
Obviously, yeah. It's scary business out there. Hopefully that ref, made a full recovery.
He's good. Yeah, he's good.
Okay. Good. We love to hear that. Speaking of full recoveries, I saw a TikTok from you the other day. Kyler Murray is Kyler going to be good to go week 1? Obviously, looked pretty good doing some weight training.
Am I big on TikTok now? I don't know. Where did you see this?
Okay,
was it a short?
It was a short. It was a YouTube short. I kind of just lumped them all into the same category. My bad.
There's, I wouldn't say conflicting reports. It's just there's been a lack of information since he initially went on PUP to start camp, and I've seen him in limited times, like throughout training camp and preseason. Now I would say it's pretty far-fetched to think he's going to be ready week 1. And that makes sense, right? Because we're looking at probably about 8.5 months since he tore his ACL and meniscus. He had a little issue there as well on Monday Night Football against the New England Patriots. And he had surgery on January 3rd. So, I think Kyler Murray, especially with the shape of this roster to start the season, they're not going to rush him back. They understand this is a rebuilding season, and they probably won't take a guy they just invested $230.5 million in and put him out there week 1 against the Commanders. So I think it's probably like the biggest thing we're going to have to follow up on within the next week is, are they going to keep him on PUP? And if he's on PUP to start this, if he's going to start there to start the season, that means at least the first four weeks he's out and he can't practice. Then he's going to have to get back to speed. He's going to have to learn the new offensive coordinator scheme. And now you're starting to look at like week 5, week 6, what makes sense for him, and where are the Cardinals going to be realistically? Like, how many wins are they going to have under the belt? Because it's a tough start. A lot of playoff teams from last year that they've got in between now and then. So, they're going to play it smart. New coach Jonathan Gannon said that he's got to be 100% mentally, 100% physically. New general manager Monty Osborne said, like, they're not going to hesitate to put him out there. Like, a lot of people are saying, like, if they're 1-6, if they're 0-7, like, are you going to put him out there? It's like, yeah, I think this team wants to take a hard look at Kyler Murray. And if there's a chance that they've got 2 premium draft picks in their own and Houston Texans, like, they're within striking distance of Caleb Williams, they got a tough conversation to have. And I think they want to have all the information possible. And Kyler Murray playing football games this season gives them that.
Yeah, that's definitely – it's a tough spot for the Cardinals to be in, obviously. I know you talked about Jonathan Gannon wanting to be a winner. Like, he wants to go out there and win all 17 games if he can. He doesn't have that rebuild mentality. And with – does that mean long game with getting like a Caleb Williams if you're able to get that 1-1, or is that just to build that culture of winning now, right? Like if you are 1-7 and you put in Kyler and you win those last 7 games, you go in with more momentum and more answers, in my opinion, whether or not you keep Kyler into that next season. But as far as I don't know how connected you are, I guess, to like the whole locker room and the vibes there with the whole new head coach. Obviously GM, like a whole new overhaul on this facility. Are we looking, optimistic, or is there not like a total buy-in from these players?
There's a complete buy-in. There is, from top to bottom, right? But there's 2 different jobs to be done, right? There's the general manager as far as cleaning up the mess left by the previous regime and getting this roster back in for the first time in a long time in a place to where it can probably win consistently, which it hasn't had the ability to do for far too long, probably since the inception of this franchise, which is sad. But you've got Jonathan Gannon, who he understands that he's got to have complete buy-in from his players. He's got buy-in from the front office, and that at the end of the day, like, even though he's probably going to be given a little bit of grace as far as the shape of the roster, he's not going to be judged on wins and losses, but he's going to be judged on buy-in from players. Are they listening to him in the locker room? Do they believe in him? And to this point, he absolutely has full buy-in, no doubt about it. but through a 17-week season where you're expected to take a bunch of lumps, can he keep morale up? Can he keep people focused on the direction of this organization? And that's going to be his main job this year, more so than winning football games, because when you look at like this roster, it's not up to par to do so, to compete. So if he can get them, I mean, the total in Vegas is 4.5, right, for wins this year. If he can get the team sniffing that, and they can be competitive, and definitely take a step forward defensively, which is kind of his forte, obviously coming over from Philly as their DC. I think that you'll continue to have buy-in, and then you'll have 11 picks come next offseason. You'll have, even with Kyler Murray's contract potentially, or dev money, you'll have close to $80 million in cap space. So they're going to have the assets, draft capital wise and cap wise, to reshape this roster.
100%. And you kind of talked about just like the mess that's been left behind. I went back because this was the first year this happened, and so it's not something that's like readily, like I don't think about it often. But the Cardinals report card from last year, that was abysmal. I mean, that's academic probation right there. So if he can get just some of that stuff turned around and have the guys see the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will, to move forward, I would consider it a win. And obviously, he kind of left a sour taste in Philly's mouth the way that he left there. But I think everyone's excited.
When are they not sour, though? When is the taste in their mouth not sour?
This guy. That's the reason he likes him. Mr. Redbone over here. That's the reason he's a big Philly fan. So, but yeah, I was just gonna say that. Speaking of that roster, like you guys have some notable players. Have you been watching their training camp? Are they looking good?
Oh yeah. Okay. No, I mean, look, it's tough in camp, right? I mean, they just had a joint practice today with Minnesota, and
Oh, I heard it didn't exactly.
It did. No, it didn't go great, and they're undermanned at several positions, including the defensive line. I think the offensive line should be better. They invested a 6th overall pick in Paris Johnson Jr. there, and he's going to play right tackle right at the gates. And DJ Humphries is fine in the left tackle spot, but they've got to find some guys to step up in the playmaking department. We'll see if Hollywood Brown is motivated in a contract year. I like what I've seen from Michael Wilson. He's an up-and-coming rookie out of Stanford that wasn't super productive at the college ranks because he wasn't healthy. But, man, 6'2", 210, gets open all the time. He even got open against – it was one of the few lone bright spots today in Minnesota. So it's really going to be fascinating. But, what are they going to be able to do with Colt McCoy or Clayton Tune or whoever is going to be their quarterback for the majority of the time with Kyler Murray out? It's like it's going to be tough. And then the defensive side of the football, about Buda Baker, and then there's just a bunch of unknowns. So it's going to take a Herculean coaching effort to get this team in a position to just compete week in and week out. And if they can, I think people will say, hey, this is a damn good coaching job. But like the roster, you're just going to have to get some unique production from places that you weren't expecting. And that's asking a lot. But it happens all the time in the NFL, right? But to try to predict it, it's tough.
Yeah, well, and you like the Colt McCoy situation at quarterback. Obviously, they're like we've seen backups shine, right? Mike White, Brock Purdy. Nobody expected that,
right?
But so you're exactly right. It is 100%.
They got used though. I mean, those are guys that you got a little spring in your step, and they were put in a good position. Like Brock was like late in the season, right? He wouldn't just go from Mr. Irrelevant right to starring for the 49ers. He got to go in there and at least kind of prepare week in and week out for the NFL season, where it's just like, Clayton Tune, like there's been 4 players that have been drafted outside of the top 100 that have started the season as they're at the quarterback position. It's like Dak Prescott, Kyle Orton, and Steve Berline. It's just like, it's not a long list. So it's like to expect that from Tune, and then you got McCoy. He's 37 years old and he's got a noodle arm. Like can he make the throws? Can he stay healthy? Like I understand the people that are skeptical of that happening.
Yeah, no, and well. Yeah, it's exactly a tough spot. But I was just going to pivot on the noodle arm. We know a guy who doesn't have a noodle arm. Mr. Bazooka himself, Patrick Mahomes, fan of the Chiefs here. Cole has a question for you.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about the shortcomings of, Arizona's roster, and even with the Chiefs sometimes, people talk about how our defense might be a little lacking. But personally, I think like our our linebacking group is a little underrated, with like Willie Gay and Nick Bolton. So I was just curious if, there's any units on that roster that, you think could be a silver lining and, you might be a little optimistic on the situation.
My condolences. The tough times on the Chiefs right now with that. They might have a little bit. They might be a little light at the linebacking corps. That must be rough for you guys with counting all your Super Bowl appearances and your Lombardi trophies. No, but like I like their linebacking corps this year. They got Kazir White comes over from Philly. They've got a couple under the radar guys, Chris Barnes and Josh Woods, and then they got Owen Pappo, who's an athletic kid out of Auburn. It's like. They spent like not a ton of free agent dollars on it. They didn't spend any premium draft picks, and that's the way of the NFL. Where the previous regime, they spent back-to-back seasons first round picks on off-ball linebacker, and they're not even playing that position any longer. Like Isaiah Simmons is a center field safety, and then you got Zaven Collins who's trying to save his career and put him at the pass rush spot. So. The pass rush spot is like interesting. I'm a little bullish on that. I think they got some guys that can maybe pin their ears back, get after the quarterback, establish themselves as maybe some building blocks. And then the safety spot, Budda Baker always comes to play. Jalen Thompson, I think, is one of the more underrated guys. And then we'll see what they get from Simmons. If it's finally the spot, they can maybe unlock some potential as the former eighth overall pick in the 2020 draft.
I was just going to say that Simmons, he's a missile. He's a hard hitter. Yeah. So if nothing else, he'll just get people driving. But man, I saw a couple highlights. I'm like, holy man.
But that's it, right? The unfortunate, like between the highlights you see, like there's not the consistent play. And I think he definitely was. The previous coaching staff failed him, like horrendously failed him, and. This is like his last chance. They decline his 5th-year option. This is a guy that's going to hit free agency next year. It's like if you're one of the 31 other teams, you're like, okay, we like this guy. He was a beast at Clemson. He's 6'4", he's 240. He ran a sub 4.4. There's got to be a spot for him, but then you look at the tape and you look at the numbers and you're like, okay, well, why can't you get consistent production from him? And he's got to figure that out. And I think that's where this marriage is. It's going to end, obviously, inevitably in divorce, but can they do it amicably to where, Isaiah Simmons can go find the next relationship that works for him?
So is that, you said failure, is that a coaching, like the scheme, or like what kind of failure are we looking at?
I think it was like, the GM saw him as like a guy he couldn't pass up on when he could have taken, Tristan Wirfs or maybe even a CeeDee Lamb, right? And then he's like, I just can't help myself. I'm going to get this Swiss Army knife, this jack of all trades but master of none. And then the coaching staff was saddled with, okay, found a spot for him. And then in the pandemic season, they had him drinking from a fire hose, just trying to learn a system. And they just, they had a quick leash to pull him off the field, and then they just couldn't. And then there's like the question of, does he love football? So it's a mixture of, coaching and, front office decisions, and then the players want to and will to. So we'll see. I mean, if he wants to be a guy that plays at the next level, I think this is his best shot. I think JG, he's been known to kind of be a kingmaker as far as the safety position, get guys good deals. This is his opportunity, but he's also new to the position, and we'll see if he can capitalize on it. And it's like, who's paying like a premium for a center field type safety? Like, that's not a premium position right now in the NFL. So Simmons just has to show he belongs.
Yeah, well, questioning whether a player loves football or not is not a question you want to be asking.
Right.
It's
year 4.
Yeah, especially. So it's one of those things too. Like, I feel like once they lose that, then they can't play, right? It's like a quarterback that loses their confidence. Like just something's missing, right? You got that around the league a little bit with quarterbacks here and there that on lackluster teams they're just not able to produce like they used to. Like Marcus Mariota just came out in that preseason game. It kind of didn't look like he was all completely there. Trey Lance, I mean, yes, he's new and it's just could be like kind of rookie stuff going on, but there's questions about his confidence. So that kind of stuff is never awesome to see. Nothing really coming out of Cardinals camp is awesome right now. I'm sorry, but it is
Michael
tough
Wilson's
situation.
good. I mean, and they'll always have Buddha. So there's a few things.
Oh, yeah.
Paris Johnson Jr. has been solid too. No, I mean, somebody said they're gonna go 0-17, and I've seen them kind of thrown around with like the Lions and the Browns who are an 0-16. It's like I think that's tougher. That's just tough to predict as a team going undefeated. Like to be that bad, like week in and week out, is really tough. But the 4.5 total, it's like. That's a sweat. That's going to be a sweat, regardless of which direction you go with.
I mean, you guys don't exactly have an easy division. Obviously, you got like Niners and the Rams. Rams kind of fell apart a little bit, but the Niners are a powerhouse. So, I mean, we'll be hoping you guys can get something going. Obviously, there's that video that came out. I don't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago of Buddha just like crying to the locker room, like we know that guy loves football. He wants to win. No, it was funny, but it was also like disheartening because it's like. He really cares, and does anyone in that organization really, really care?
And that's changing. That's changing. I mean,
exactly.
that was under Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah, I think that the coaching now matches, at least the leaders in that locker room. Like I think JG and Buddha are very similar minded. Like it was interesting to see Buddha go through his what he requested a trade this offseason, and at least your coach and you are so similar. At least give JG a chance, and I think finally he's getting out there, and he's an extension of what Gannon wants to do. It's just like Buddha's one of those guys. Like I want 53 of those guys, but they don't exist for a reason. I mean, he's cut from a very unique cloth.
Yeah, no, and you kind of have to be in the NFL. You're right on there. I know Ren has a question that he's been trying to get out of his mouth here for a few minutes, so I'll let him run with that.
What's up, man? Let's hear it.
Yeah, I'm a big college football guy, so when you mentioned possibly, you guys having the first pick, I want to say you guys are one of the favorites to possibly have it next year.
Mm-hmm.
What's kind of the feeling in Arizona like, okay, we have Kyler Murray, we just paid him a ton of money. If we do have that first overall pick, Caleb Williams is on the board. He probably will have another stellar season. Everyone at least projects him to.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of decision has to be made there between, okay, do you take Caleb Williams or do you stick with Kyler Murray?
Like if it's their own pick, I think that it removes any kind of doubt. If they go that horribly wrong in 2023, like it's very possible, right? Like Kyler Murray came back and he couldn't win football games, so like to move up to Kyler Murray, trade him, and you have to eat $46 million in dead cap, right? But then they'll still have, anywhere from $70-80 million to spend, and you reset the quarterback contract thing with Caleb Williams, where you get him 4 to 5 years locked in on a rookie deal, and you can build around him. Business-wise, it's a no-brainer. I think that would be the route you go. But I think that conversation only happens is if you have 1-1. Like I don't think it's Drake May. I don't think you have the conversation about him. I don't think you have the conversation even though Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be amazing. Like unless you're 1-1 and you can get Caleb Williams, you probably don't have that. But then how rare has it been to where you have two really premium picks in your own, and then you have the Houston Texans who might have misdiagnosed where they are as far as their rebuild. Like even if CJ Stroud has a decent season, like are they out of striking distance of that pick, and it goes to Arizona because they wanted Will Anderson 3rd overall. So I think they absolutely have that conversation. I think if they're 1-1, I think they would lean likely in the favor of drafting Caleb Williams over trading down for a haul of picks. And then it becomes like, what can you get for Kyler Murray? I think that there's still quarterback needy teams out there that are willing to give up, something, some assets for it. I mean, we're not talking like, top, first round pick, but I think you can get something in return for him. And then you could really kickstart that rebuild with Caleb Williams, your other first round pick, which is likely top 10, top 5, and then whatever you get for Kyler. And then, I mean, they've got 6 picks within the first 3 rounds of 2024. They're going to be in good spots draft-wise next year. It's going to be a fun college football season for Cardinals fans because it's a good draft. There's some top prospects and some exciting guys that could change the perception of this franchise.
So let's just play a little hypothetical here. I'm just kind of curious. Let's say Cardinals end up going, 4-5 or whatever, and they end up putting in Kyler on that latter half of the season whenever he's ready, and he does not perform well. Like he won't. Obviously, he's going to do well, but if he doesn't, what what are we? Is he getting shipped out of town, or are they gonna try to because they won't probably get the 1-1 with that kind of performance? Are they gonna try to trade up and get him replaced in the draft? I know obviously this is all in the future and hypothetical.
Yeah,
but what would you like to see out of the Cardinals?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair question. And he didn't. The last time we saw Kyler, we saw some of his worst football of his NFL career. So like, is he going to be able to in a new offensive scheme? And I think with better coaching, no matter what side of the ball you're looking at, he's going to be put in a better spot. But can he knock the rust off? Right? Does he not have too many bad habits from the previous coaching staffs that are going to linger? And that's a fair question. Like. If he comes out and he can't perform and he's worse than the guys that were holding the team afloat without him, that's a really really bad situation because then like can you trade him for anything? Because like the key is if they trade him, it's $46 million towards dead cap. Otherwise, it's like 80+ million, and that's almost you can't even deal with that. Then you just kind of have to wear it with him on the roster and figure out what to do, and then probably pivot to a younger quarterback at the same time. And that's like the worst of all realities. I honestly that's going to put me in a dark space mentally. So I don't know if I can entertain this much more.
Well, we'll pivot away then. We'll move on.
I mean, that's the toughest of all hypothetical scenarios. But that's a dark one.
No, and I wouldn't say it's out of the cards, but it's not something we want to see. Like,
Right.
Kyler Murray's electric. Like, he's a lot of fun to watch. I'd love to see him do well.
I think that's what's weird. Like on our show, when we're talking about it on a daily basis, I don't think that we're naive to the fact that Caleb Williams could realistically happen. But we say that with the idea, like we still want to see. We're Kyler Murray fans. We want to see what we saw on full display. Week 1 against the Titans a couple of years ago, we had 5 total touchdowns. Just, as you said, he's just making plays. He's unbelievable. But it's the NFL. I mean, it humbles a lot of great athletes, guys that play at a high level, and then production just falls off a cliff. Or, it happens, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a tough world out there, and it is very humbling. But I'd love to see Kyler do well. I know Cole has another question for. I didn't expect more than one out of the guys, so I got just thrown a curveball there. So go ahead, Cole.
What's up, Cole?
Right. Cole? I wanted to get a little bit more optimistic here because I do like Kyler Murray as a football player as well. So say he comes back, meshes well with the situation he's in, and I'm a bit of a fantasy football guy myself, so I'm curious if what kind of tier of receiver you think Marquise Brown can be if Kyler Murray comes back and is playing like we know that he can.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood, his stock goes way up when Kyler comes back. But before that, I don't know if he's somebody you can trust. If it's somebody, if Hollywood slips in your draft and he goes, if he falls way below where his average draft status is, then yeah, scoop him up, draft and stash him. But like the first couple of weeks, first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, I just don't know if there's anything you can trust just because of who's throwing him the football. But I like this new offense for Hollywood Brown. I think he can play to the where Amari Cooper played in the Cleveland Browns offense last year. And with Kyler Murray, he's deadly accurate, and that's his boy. Like they had a good connection, even though they struggled last season before Hollywood had the foot injury. I think that's a good one to where it's like, okay, if he falls below where he's supposed to get drafted and he's just kind of hanging around, scoop him up. But I wouldn't reach for him just because there's so many different variables going into when's Kyler available, and Hollywood, he's reliant on Kyler Murray, obviously.
No, that's well, and we got Larry Fitzgerald was at with you guys today, so maybe he can point a few pointers in his direction. I've got one last question for you. I know we're running a little short on time. So pivoting to more around the whole entire league, Jonathan Taylor, 6 inquiries, 2 offers. Are the Cardinals in on this, or is this we're pushing it off because it's a complete rebuild?
Yeah, I just don't think it doesn't make sense for them at this point. You know, like a guy, he's sure the age works, but you'd have to give up draft capital. You know, it piques your interest a little bit that it's a day 2 pick, and they're not short on that. But not only do you have to, you know, give up draft capital, you also have to invest in a multi-year extension, and you got to pay him as one of the top running backs in the league. And they're not going to be short on that. But as far as salary cap space, this roster needs so much work done on it. I think that if they're in like a spot where like San Francisco was with Christian McCaffrey last year, like, yeah, go for it. But at this stage, they're in the beginning of a rebuild. It just doesn't make sense. Like, I'd rather see them take one of their 6, you know, picks within the first 3 rounds and get one of these really, really solid prospects, you know, whether it's like a Rocket Sanders out of Arkansas, one of the 2 Michigan running backs, Trayvon Henderson. It's like a really, really solid running back class. I'd rather them a Benson out of Florida State. I think that there's you can find the next Jonathan Taylor and not pay a premium price, draft capital or salary cap wise for. I think that's the play instead.
Yeah, I would. That's kind of the vibe around the whole entire league, right? Like everyone seems to be thinking anybody can be thrown into that running back spot and it all will work out fine. So it's a tough spot for JT, but it's a great spot for you guys to be in with all those draft picks coming up in the future. Hopefully you guys can get more than those 4.5 wins, and we'll have a lot of positive vibes on the. Is it PHNX or is it Phoenix?
PHNX. Yeah, it's PHNX Sports. We talk Cardinals football every day. We'll venture into a lot of draft talk, as you know, not the highest expectations for this team this year, but still got 17 games to play this season. Got to endure that before we get to the fun part of next offseason. If they're ahead of schedule, if they surprise, it's even better. But you know, they still got those 11 potential picks to hang their hat on.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Fun part of the offseason, man. I'm dying over here. I really want some live football. But, hey, we appreciate you, Bo. We're very thankful you came on. We'd love to have you back anytime. But, ladies and gentlemen, Bo Brack. Hey, thank you.
Guys, thank you so much. Anytime. I love the setup. The studio's phenomenal. You know, it's where you guys are in Ames?
We are in Ames. I mean, hey, but we're working through some audio stuff right now. So if you know a guy we would like some help.
I've been stressing back here.
Yeah, if you go back, like, we had an old studio. Everything is, like, peachy keen.
Cardboard. That's amazing.
I'm in a box.
Yeah, he's in a box.
With my mac and cheese.
A little bit of a bit there. But, yeah, so we're just a couple college guys talking about sports. You know, it's pretty chill. But, no, I appreciate it. We put a lot of
Will
work
McDonald, man. I'm high on him. Big cyclone, expected to make some big moves. How about you guys like Harrison Barnes there, too? Or since he went to Carolina, you're out on that?
He's a traitor. He's a traitor.
Yeah. This is by person,
so is
I'd
Joe
say.
Burrow.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy, though.
Brock Purdy.
I mean, he's from AZ originally, and then he went out there for, 18 years he played there at Iowa State?
Pretty much. Yeah, Breece Hall. I mean, we had some studs coming out recently, so.
Still only won like 8 games.
I know. Now that we've lost everyone, I think our over-under is like 1.5 wins for this year. So.
Well, Hakeem Butler broke my heart. I thought he was a steal in the 4th round coming out of Iowa State, and he didn't last very long here in a Cardinals uniform.
Well,
he might be coming back. He's been lighting it up in the XFL. That would be cool.
Yeah. Did he sign with the Steelers, right? Or no?
He got cut already, guys. I hate to tell you.
Well, Bo, we're full-time students here, okay? We can only do so much.
Yeah. Guys, stay locked into the studies, all right? It's good that you don't know what Hakeem Butler's status is. You can't waste any brain space for that.
Thank you for those kind words. But, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we'll let you go, Bo. We appreciate the time. Bo Brack.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Anytime.
Awesome. Well, hey. What a guy.
That was stressful.
That was a lot of stress on the back end. But holy shit, that was awesome.
Let me explain what's going on in my head back
here. Oh, my
here.
God, that was crazy.
I'm chilling here. I'm watching my second monitor.
Oh.
And I felt my phone buzzing. And I looked down, and Mom's like, hey, first off, there's some echo. And
oh, perfect.
And everybody is quiet. I was like, huh? So now I got to figure out how to turn up the mics.
Well, the worst part of that is I spent like 6 hours working on it. I was like, oh, we're golden. So everything's good.
I think what was happening is I was just messing around back here. So if his stuff started disappearing, like his voice started going away a little bit.
Well, if you can't hear us, then it's only half the conversation anyway. So I don't really know.
Well, I figured that part out.
Well, he said some good stuff. So
yeah, he did.
We don't really need our half.
He's a very informed guy. Like he he knows. Okay,
Yeah.
so
He knows more
hopefully-
about Iowa State players than we do.
But hey, he gave us a pass, right? Like he's like, hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Worry about your studies. So hey, that was. I mean, how many times can I say, hey, that was a lot of fun. That was our first real interview there, I'd say. I mean, we had a couple athletes, but
Yeah, someone that we didn't really know going into it.
yeah, that was. What'd you guys think? I was not so sure about the questions from you two. I had literally no idea
You
what.
were scared for us?
Just like I didn't even know what was coming down the pipe.
I thought we had some good ones.
Yeah.
Baller questions. Don't get me wrong, but like, what was the thought process there? Were you just kind of?
I was quickly realized he was very intelligent and that I was not going to be able to pull a quick one on him with
Okay.
a dumb question. So I was like, we're going to have to throw that material out and move on to something more realistic.
Well, Ren walks in 3 minutes before. We're trying to do this like whole
You said
pre-show
5 o'clock. I was
kind of
here at
meeting
5.
going on, and Ren's like, "Well, you said 5," and I'm like, "Hey, we were like gonna maybe go
When
over
am I
what
not
we were gonna
here
ask
early?
him, so I don't ask questions you guys are gonna ask, blah blah blah."
No,
so I'm like,
The text said we're starting at 5.
"That's when we're going live."
Yeah.
yeah. I said hard
Don't walk
5
in at
o'clock
5.
start, and
Behind the scenes drama on air.
well, I go to Red and I go, "So what are you gonna ask him?" So I don't ask him like that question, and Red goes, "I don't know, I'm gonna make it up." I'm like, what? Just okay, then I'm gonna roll. So, but hey, a lot of fun. Like that,
That
was
was
a
fun.
really fun interview. He had a hell of a backdrop there. That cool door. Snapback was on forwards, which was a bit of a curveball. I was ready to compliment his snapback because that's like all he wears. But
I don't think we're cool enough to pull off the snapback, so we've always been dad hat guys.
dad hats
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
glasses, though. I mean, can we take a second to talk about the glasses?
Bought these on Welch Street.
Hey, what kind of deal did you get
Ave.
on those? Where'd you got a deal?
You know, they say it was $20 a pair. I say, give me 2 pairs and I'll give you $20. Master negotiator.
It's a literal steal. You stole a pair from that lady, I swear.
Yeah. Yep.
I wasn't watching, so I can't confirm or deny whether or not you actually made that transaction. I was when you told me that, I was like, so you basically said, fuck your prices. I'm not doing that. Like, I'm gonna get 2 for the price of 1.
Correct.
That's she must not have had any sales that night, I swear to God.
Well, she asked her boss to make sure it was all right. He was
Her
like,
boss?
Yeah.
It was a company?
Yeah. Well, there was 2 people there.
Oh.
So
Hey, that's like a pawn shop
Interesting.
situation going
Yeah.
on. Yeah, I've never been in a pawn shop, but I've seen Pawn Stars, so it's like the same thing, right?
I am the pawn
No
star.
difference at all.
Oh man.
No, that was really cool to dive deep into a team that regularly we wouldn't talk about much, though. I
or
thought
even
that was super
think
interesting.
about. Yeah,
Right.
like Cardinals aren't on very many radars. They were obviously in the news for their 3 pick this year, right? Or were they the 2? They were the 3 that they traded to the Texans. Yeah.
Third, I'm pretty sure. Yep.
Yeah, so they traded
got
that 3,
Warriors.
so they kind of made the numbers or the news there. But like outside of that, Cardinals aren't necessarily someone with D-Hop leaving, with obviously Larry retired. They've got other like notable guys leaving, like Zach Allen, Brian Murphy. Like it's not someone that's in the news. So it was fun to dive in. Obviously, like all the behind the scenes like research and
Yeah.
stuff. I was like, dang, I didn't know anything about this team. And then all you see from their camp is like crappy play. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
Yeah.
It's most teams are putting out like deep balls from their starting quarterback to their starting receiver because we never see that in the preseason games. And Cardinals camp is releasing footage of practice where everyone's going half speed and the ball literally hits the DB in the back of the head. Like
Yeah.
this is not ideal, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
No, I don't have any malicious feelings towards the Cardinals, so I really hope they pull something together on the back half, and then they can use all of those assets to put some tools around Kyler and see if they can do something in the future.
I'll be curious to see if what they do or like when he comes back, right? Like if he comes back week 6, are they 3-3? Are they 5-1? 1-5? Obviously not gonna be 5-1. Let's be real. But 1-5.
They could.
Anything's possible. We've seen crazier things happen. Well, maybe not than that. That might be the top of the list actually. But speaking of crazy things happening, Jonathan Taylor could be ended up at a different team this next year, and that's not something I thought was going to happen
This year?
This year even.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go back to April. JT says, "Hey, I'm going to play for you guys," and then he gets a new agent, and all of a sudden, he's not going to be playing under the current salary that he's getting. He's getting about 4.3 in base salary this year, and said, "Nah,
I'm
Which
good.
is nuts. He's right. He's
No.
worth way more than
Well-
that. Maybe not worth, but
4.3 for
when
the
you
play
look at
last
some
year
of
is
the money that other players are getting of like his caliber,
yeah,
he's making like pennies on the dollar.
right. Well,
Granted, he's a running back, so is
That's the problem.
healthy lifespan in the NFL is about, half
4
a
years.
season.
Yeah, half. No, for real. And like, that's exactly the problem. The market is just completely shot. Like you saw Eckler, who requested a trade, was granted the opportunity to seek a trade, couldn't find anybody, ends up returning and getting 1.75 in incentives added to his contract. That's basically all they were able to do for him. Then you saw Zeke get signed for 6, Cook get signed for 8. Like, the market's pretty small, so if he's wanting 15 a year, he's not going to get it. But he does have offers on the table, which is interesting. I didn't see that coming. So I think he's going to be playing for a different team. Could be in Miami.
Do you
Could
want
be.
him on the Patriots?
No, I don't really need him on the Patriots. We got Zeke and Ramondre, so I'm okay there. We don't need to spend more cap on him, but we could be seeing him in the AFC East, right? We got him Dolphins, Bills. What about the Chiefs?
No, we don't.
We don't want him?
I don't think we really have a function for him.
Well, running the ball.
Well, okay, but we have, with the guys we have, they're all really good at something, so I just think that three-headed monster we have is better than one Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, you got like Pacheco and
Pacheco, run your nuts off. Jared McKinnon
Clyde,
can.
is he still there? Clyde's still there.
Clyde's the third-string running back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah,
pretty good
I think
third
we're
string.
fine.
Yeah. Well, could always get better though.
Yeah.
Injuries.
I don't think that's what
Injuries
we need to worry
happen.
about. No, we'll be all right.
Oh shoot. Well, I would ask you about your team, Brendan, but you don't necessarily have one, so
Yeah,
Birds.
I feel like we should get you a team for the season.
that's what I'm thinking. We need this guy to root for somebody.
I'm rooting for the Jets for financial reasons.
Yep.
Does that just make that your team then?
There you go.
Nah,
No.
they don't have a great color scheme.
Great what?
Color scheme.
Oh. It's all about
Okay.
the colors.
That's important.
What kind of colors are we looking for? Red and white?
Yeah, probably. Maybe I'll
Arizona
just become a
Cardinals,
Cardinals
baby.
fan.
There we go. Look at that. Bo, we got
That's
you a
too
new guy.
far away, though.
Oh,
I
well,
don't
it's
like
not like
the
anyone's
culture.
really close to Iowa.
I think we just need a team in Des Moines or something.
Be a Bears fan.
Yeah.
Oh,
You got Bears,
ugly
Green
colors.
Bay,
Ugly colors.
Vikings.
I think they kind of pull it
Vikings,
off
they're
though.
good.
Yeah, you could be a Vikings fan.
Did you see that they switched their logo? Kinda.
Talking to your
Like
mic.
they made their primary logo like the bear head now instead of the C.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's cool.
Yeah, pretty sick.
I did see that actually. Yeah. Well, you got like the Browns changed their logo,
Is
or
it
they got a new one.
Freddy the Elf now or whatever?
No, they got a new one. I think they just added the dog pound one that was created on TikTok.
What's the helmet? The helmet's a different shade or what?
Yeah,
Yeah, they made like a dog shaped one. I don't
Mm.
know.
that one's sick.
They did a poll for like which one should they put on their midfield. It was Brownie, the new one, the helmet, and then their fourth one was an orange stripe.
What?
And I know
Yeah.
they've done that before, but that is just the most brown center of the field logo that I have ever heard of. Come on, an orange stripe? It's like the 20-yard line. It's the same importance. I'm not noticing that from the nosebleeds. That's where I'm buying tickets to. If you want to buy tickets, SeatGeek, $20 off your first order. Marv On Air. Code Marv On Air will get you $20 off there. But, man, I really was just prepped for Bo. Like, that was...
Yeah, I think we got a lot out of that.
That was a
good
lot
deal.
of fun. We got rolling, right? Like 10 minutes in, and I'm like, hey, we are running out of content quickly. I am going through this at a rapid rate. And then we made it. We made it the whole half hour. So I was pretty
We're actually at an hour.
No, with him.
Oh, okay.
Did him a half hour, and I was impressed with you guys. Your question, baller. Redden came in with the college aspect. Love that. And then back to Cole. Like, we got a team here, guys. We got
Super team.
What a journalism team here. Alex put the glasses on just for the interview and then took them off.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I couldn't see it. Well, I had to take them off when it got stressful.
oh my gosh, dude, I was shitting my pants over here.
You
Tell
weren't
you
even
what.
trying to figure it out.
No, but I'm like, I don't know what I can't do anything. I'm stuck over here. So, but yeah, I think that's it for today. We'll be back Monday. What is that? We're in September, right? On Monday.
No, it'll be the 28th.
Oh shoot, I was thinking today.
You got
was the
another week
28th.
till
Thank God.
major college football.
So the 28th of August is Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, and tomorrow is 2 weeks to NFL football.
Yes.
And there's college football this weekend.
Yeah, week 0 stuff.
Okay, I saw Georgia.
Caleb Williams plays. So.
There we go. We'll be looking out for that potentially. I don't really know who I'm going to be watching. I'll definitely be putting it on.
Week 0, yeah. It's just whoever.
Unlike these freaking fools over in their apartment watching Suits all day instead of putting on football.
Dude, I can't get into preseason.
It was
football.
the third quarter of the preseason.
It's still football. So,
There's high school teams better than who was out there.
well, should we? I mean,
Yeah.
do we need to talk about this? Do we really need to talk about this right now?
High school football?
Well, high school football should actually be talked about with their whole. They have to practice outside in this
Oh,
117.
Good thing we got that new facility.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah,
That's
no kidding.
Up and
We're
running.
feeling like Floyd up in that Mayweather.
Up in this August weather, that's literally gonna. He talked about the ref. Like, all of those high school players are at risk of heat.
One thing I wanted to ask, I don't know if
Death.
this is relevant to
Yeah.
human beings, but I know for rabbits, if you take them like out of the heat and put them into air conditioning, they can like die, like have a heart attack from shock.
Oh,
That's me, but the opposite way around.
I
Like-
think that's how the
No,
people on the
wait.
Titanic died.
Wait.
yeah,
really?
it could be.
Hypothermia.
No, it's like reverse.
These monks.
It's like when
Stop.
you go,
Okay, I'm trying.
Okay.
Okay.
just go.
You know, it's not even relevant anymore.
Yeah,
Screw
after
you guys.
you yelled at us.
I'm grounding you.
But
all
that's
you
like when
guys.
you put a cup in hot water and then put it in the cold and it cracks it. You ever seen that?
Oh,
Those
speaking of
glass
that,
cups.
mm.
Yeah, I broke,
Mom, I know you're on here. That new mug that you had us
I broke it
You
because
had-
Alex left his Keurig in
in
the
a fridge that should not have had any issues.
and we had to bad deal. So anyways, that cup broke. But yeah, I was gonna say with the high school football players, obviously that's an issue. But you really just said that high school players are better than the NFL players. Is this really what we're gonna do?
Yeah, this is the first time Alex has ever said.
Yeah, are you going to make
anything
me down a hill I don't
crazy.
believe in now as we're trying to end the show? Or
No, I'm
what?
saying like, are we? Is this like, the best? The Georgia Bulldogs could beat the Bears from last
No,
year.
they couldn't.
Then why would you say a high school team could beat them? They're worse than the Georgia Bulldogs.
The joke just went way over your head.
No, I'm taking it because some people think this. They really
I
think.
don't. Do you want me to defend them?
No, I'm just glad that we're all on the same page here. Then
Well, now I'm
All right.
starting to think that you're wrong.
I think
Out
the
of
heat's
spite.
getting to us.
it's cold
Yeah.
here though.
Ames, turn off our power. Or
No
something.
kidding. Yeah, I'm surprised we made it through. Hey, kudos to us. But yeah, we'll be back Monday the 28th. We got the owl on. The owl.
What is the owl?
The owl
Like
is coming
the owl
on.
that licks the lollipop in that one commercial. How many licks?
It
does
might be
take to
him.
get to
So you're
the-
saying Hunter will not
Tootsie
be
Pop.
on Monday?
Well, Hunter just basically said, "Screw your show. I'm not coming on ever."
Oh.
Except unless we want to do Fridays, because he said he would do that. But I know you two have plans
I always have
on
plans.
Friday. But the owl will be joining us Monday, 5:30. That's going to be an entertaining one. We're going to find out who this guy is, Twitter legend. So I'm genuinely curious. I don't think he's made an appearance on any podcast ever. As far as I can't find it. So I guess it's just because whenever I Google the owl, it's all owl pictures. So
Makes sense.
he's got a good alias, or what do they call that? Like, is it alias?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
Bruce
Persona?
Wayne to,
Clark Kent.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's an alias.
Dr.
think
Jekyll
so.
and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, he's got like one of that thing going on. So shout out to him for that. That's
Tyler Durden.
All right, Red, you got anything to sign us off with?
Deuces.